Test tomorrow. So the first two, it's just a yes or no. Decide whether the ordered pair is a solution of the systems of linear equations. So there's the ordered pair. That means x is 2 and y is 4, because they're alphabetical, remember? So what you got to do is plug it into both. If I put it in here, 4 times 2 plus 4, does that equal negative 4?
No.
No, so you're done. It's got to work in both. Some of you, when we did this assignment, you answered it twice. You said that no, that doesn't work, and no, that doesn't work. It's not two answers. It's just yes, does it work in both, or no, does it work in both? So since it doesn't work in one of them, you're done. It's just no. So here, if I put 1 in for x and 1 in for y, that one works, right?
Yep.
2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 does equal 3. If I put 1 in here and 1 in there, that would be 1, take away 2, does that equal negative 1?
Yep.
So they both work, so that's yes.
So like, is there ever gonna be like a problem where the top one's yes and the bottom one's no?
Yeah, there could be, but remember, in order for it to be a solution of the whole system, it has to work in both.
Okay.
So if one of them's no, the whole thing is no. Okay, graphing. This one's the easy one.
When do we get new spots in this class?
Next quarter.
Sweet. When's that?
4 weeks?
Oh, a month?
Let's see, we just had midterm. March 18th is the end of the quarter.
Ah, great.
That's like when we come back home.
Okay, so this one's the easier one to do. X equals 6 crosses the x-axis at 6. Can you see the lines on yours?
1, 2.
Yeah, barely.
1, 2,
but
3, 4,
I don't
5, 6. So
I don't understand
that would be this line. And then y equals negative 3 crosses the y-axis at negative 3.
Oh, you straight the coordinates?
So the solution then is where they intersect. So the solution would be 6 over 3 down. That's the point where they intersect.
So backwards.
So basically the answer is in the
It is on these, yep.
So that's what we put for an answer?
but I mean if you graph it, it would be a part of the points, right?
Wait, why
you
do we have
would-
to graph
It just so happens, right, this is the answer because they're both vertical and horizontal
So
lines.
like if you didn't do the graph, would you get less points or?
Yeah, you would, because you do have to graph them.
Oh, I see.
So we had to actually put 6, negative 3.
Yeah, you gotta label that, that's the solution. Either put it there or put it somewhere. Now, this one, in order to graph, it's easiest if you get the y by itself. So move that over, and it would be y equals, remember, just change the signs from negative to positive 3x plus 6. So that one crosses at 6. I'm just gonna make my own lines on here. And that didn't work.
I just put my 2s.
You went by 2s?
6.
2, 4, 6. And it's got a slope of 3 over 1. Now remember, if you go down 3, you went by 2s, that would be right to here. Right? And then if you go by 2s here, you'd have to make sure you label the graph if you go by 2s. So down 3 over 1 would be right there.
So if you.
Because that's
change
1,
the
2,
amount,
3,
all
and over 1.
Or just change one.
Huh?
So like when you went down, you said since it's not negative though, so then you just changed 1.
Oh, I went the wrong way, you're right. I should have went the other way. Down 3 and over 1 this way.
So if you change 1, you gotta change all.
Now what I did, instead of going up 3 and over 1, because then I would have went off my graph, I just changed that to negative 3 over negative 1. That's why I went down 3 and left 1. It's the same as going up 3 over 1. Everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Either way, if you would've did that and gone off the graph, that's fine. So this one then goes right there. And then here, when you move this x over, it would be y equals, that would change to positive x minus 2.
-2. Over 1.
So that crosses at positive 2. It's got a slope of 1. So up 1 over 1, or I could just go up 2 over 2. What I could also do is go down 2 over 2. And then I think I'm gonna have to go down 2 and over 2 again. I'm guessing it's gonna cross right there.
Wait, why do you live in?
I gotta find where the lines intersect.
4. Oh, so confusing. Yes.
So remember, a slope of 1 over 1 means you can go up 1 over 1, but since these go by 2's, I could go up 2 over 2 because that's the same as 1 over 1. Or I could have went down 2 and left 2 because the negatives would cancel. Either way, you'd get the same line. And that's why I went down 2 and over 2 and down 2 over 2 so I could get to this line, because the intersection is where the answer is. So my lines are kind of crooked, so I'm gonna check. According to my graph, it crosses at left 4 and down 6.
Oh, it is.
Did anyone else's?
I got that.
So all you gotta do to check it is put it in. If I put -4 in here, 3 times -4 is -12, plus 6 does give me -6. And then check it in this one. Put -4 in here. 1 times -4 is -4, minus 2 is also -6. So I know I got the correct answer.
Yeah.
Okay, substitution. The first one is a good substitution, the next one, you gotta do a little more work. So for substitution, you gotta get a letter by itself, which this one already has it. You take what it's equal to and put it in place of this letter in the other equation. So then you just rewrite this, 2x plus, and in place of the y, you put what y is equal to, equals 8. And then you solve the equation.
X equals 2.
You can combine these two. 2x plus 2 is 3x. And then you just solve it, subtract 2. And then divide by 3. X equals 2. So remember now, all of these have 2 answers. So to figure out what y is, just plug this back in right there is the easiest one. So if x is 2, put a 2 in place of the x. So y equals 2 plus 2, 4. Now, this one, the easiest thing to do would be to get this y by itself. So just move the -2x over. So y would equal, it would change from negative to positive 2x. And then that didn't move, so it just stays -2. So then we have to take that and plug it in for the y up here. Remember, put it in to the letter that's by itself. So you gotta rewrite that whole thing up there. So it'd be 6x plus 2, and instead of y, put that in its place. 2x minus 2 equals 16. So on these, if there's a number up against the letter, here there wasn't, you gotta multiply that number through. So 2 times 2x is positive 4x. 2 times -2 is -4 equals 16. So this one, you can combine the x's. That makes 10x. Minus 4 equals 16. Add 4. Divide by 10. And you get 2 for x. So then, don't forget, you gotta find y, so just plug 2 in right there. And then y would equal 2 times 2 is 4, take away 2 is 2. I saw this on Facebook, don't holler out the answer, but
Not Facebook.
solve this. It was amazing how many people got this wrong,
Oh,
including a friend of mine that's a math teacher in Grand Rapids.
Seriously?
oh, I got it.
I think I got it.
I got it.
So, everyone replies to this, comments to it, you know? Most of the comments, because it said 90% of the people get this problem wrong, most put 2. So if you got 2, you're wrong.
Nope.
Anyone know how they got 2?
It is order.
3 minus 3 is 0, times 6 is 0, plus 2 is 2.
How did
So-
I forget that?
What is the right answer?
Um,
Negative 13. You guys know it. You gotta do the multiply first. And then 3 minus 18 is negative 15, plus 2 is negative 13. I couldn't believe how many people had no idea how to do that. So you're smarter than 90% of the people on Facebook.
Joy be rocking that.
Okay, so on these 6 here, you can solve however you want. You can graph them if you want to. You can use substitution or you can use elimination. This first one, the substitution is the easiest way because nothing's lined up for elimination. So you just plug x minus 1 in for that y right there. So you rewrite this 2x minus, now this is the trick right here. If it was a plus, it'd be no big deal. But since there's a minus sign there, and there's 2 things here, you have to put that in parentheses. If it was a plus, it wouldn't matter. The reason why is a negative in front of a parentheses
This should be set.
means you change all the signs, right? So this would stay 2x, and this would change to a negative x, and this would change to positive 1. So combine the x's, and then just subtract 1, and you get negative 1 for x. So then plug that in right there. Y equals negative 1, take away 1, negative 2. I think the rest of them, elimination works best. Pretty much. So here, the x's are lined up, the y's and the equal signs. The y's have the same number in front of them, so you don't have to change anything. So now you either add everything or subtract.
And
Add, because the signs are different. X plus 2x is 3x. 2 plus negative 2 cancels. 5 plus 4 is 9. Divide by 3 and you get 3. Then you gotta plug this in either here or here to solve for y. Doesn't matter which one. If I put it in there, then rewrite it. It's 3 plus 2y equals 5. And then you gotta solve. So subtract 3 and divide by 2, and you get what y is.
Substitution, how do you know when to put a parentheses? You put it every time?
If this were a plus, you wouldn't have to worry about it. You wouldn't need the parentheses there. If there's ever a plus in front of a parentheses, they can always just drop right off. If there's anything else in front of them, they gotta go and stay there. So this one, elimination works best because the x's are lined up, the y's and the equals, but nothing's matched up. So what I could do is take this bottom times 3. Does everyone know why I chose 3? It would be because then these would have the same number. So, if I did that, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6x. 3 times 6 is 18y. 3 times 9 is 27. The top one I didn't change, so I could just write that. And remember, it doesn't matter what order you put them in. I mean, I can put this one first or second. So what happens when I solve this one?
Get you adding.
Add and the x's cancel,
No. Yeah.
because negative 6 plus 6 is 0.
How'd you do it for the,
Add, and what happens here?
they cancel?
They cancel, so you're left with 0. Add, 0.
No food. Oh,
Many solutions.
Many solutions, because 0 does equal 0.
Thanks. How long did it take you? Was it that hard? What's speaking today?
This one, you could do substitution, just get the x by itself, divide everything by 5. But elimination usually is the quickest way. So all I'm gonna do, if you notice, the x's are lined up, but the equal signs and the y's aren't. So all I gotta do is switch this. I just gotta move this over here, and then it'll be the same as the top one. So the 5x is gonna stay there. Move the negative 10 over, it would change to positive 10y. And then this 5 didn't move, so it would just stay a 5. So, the quickest way to match something up would be to make this 10. So take the top times 2. Remember to take all 3 of these. I remember when I used to do these, I always forgot the last one. So, this would become 8x plus 10y equals negative 4. Bottom one I didn't have to change. So, to get the y's to cancel, do you add them or subtract? Subtract. Because 10 minus 10 is 0. So that's what you do to the other ones. That'd be 3x. That'd be negative 9. So divide by 3 and you get negative 3. So now I've got to plug that in either here or in these or in this. It doesn't matter. I'll just put it right here. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 plus 5y equals negative 2. So solve it. Add 12. And you got 5y equals 10. Divide by 5 and you get y equals 2. Number 11, again, it's not set up for elimination. You could do substitution by getting the x by itself, but again, elimination is a lot easier. So all I'd have to do to match this one up, what would I have to do to the bottom here? Move the x over. So when I move it over, it changes from a plus x to a negative x. The 3y is still on the left, so that just stays plus 3y. The 15 is still on the right, so that just stays 15. So do you add or subtract? Subtract, because 3y minus 3y would cancel. So subtract there. 7 take away a negative 1 is 8x. Negative 9 take away 15 is negative 24. So when you divide by 8, you get negative 3. Then I could plug it in anywhere I want. This one's the quickest. If I put negative 3 in there, it would be 3y equals negative 3 plus 15, which is 12. So then you just have to divide by 3, and you get 4. Okay, same thing here, it's not quite matched up. This top one, I would just leave the 4x there. And then move the 5y over to get it on the same side, so it would just change from minus or positive to minus 5y. Equals, that would just stay the same because I kept it on the right side. And then this one, all you gotta do is switch the order here. So put the negative 8x first and the positive 3y second equals negative 14. So to match these up, I could take this top times 2. So this would be 8x minus 10y equals negative 28. Bottom one, I don't have to change. So to get the x's to cancel, I would have to add, because 8 plus negative 8 cancels. So add there, you get negative 7y. Add there, and that is negative 42. So divide by negative 7, and you get 6 for y. So then plug 6 back into any one of these. I'll just put it right there. So this would be 4x equals 5 times 6, which is 30, minus 14. So 4x equals 30 minus 14, which is 16. Divide by 4, and you get 4. There wasn't an example on here, but there might be on the test a no solution one. A no solution would be like this one. But remember, it wouldn't be 0 equals 0. It'd be something like, this would be 20, 27 minus, you'd get like a different number there. That'd be no solution. Okay, then like the last assignment, the inequalities, you gotta graph each one. So this one, these are in slope-intercept form. So this one crosses at 3. It's got a slope of 2. So go up 2 over 1. It's got a solid line because it has the equal. And then you got to shade one side or the other. Since y is less than, go to where it crosses, less than's below, which means this side is shaded. Then this one crosses at a positive 5. With the slope, there's a negative in front of the x, which means that's negative 1 over 1. So you go down 1 over 1. That is not solid, it's a dotted line because it doesn't have the equal underneath. So you got to make this a dotted line. And then y is greater, so that's shaded above. So the part that would be shaded by both would be this part. So now these two, they aren't in slope-intercept form, but they're easy to put in. Just get the y by itself, so move the x over. So this would be y is less than, that would change from negative to positive x plus 2. So that would cross at 2 with a slope of, there's nothing in front, which means it's a 1. So you rise 1, run 1. That one is a dotted line because it doesn't have the equal. And y is less than, so that's everything below. Then this one's almost the same. You move the negative x over, it would be y is greater than or equal to. That would change to positive x, and then that didn't move, so that just stays negative 2. So this cross is at -2. It's got the same slope as this one, so they'll be parallel. Up 1/1. But this one is solid. And y is greater than or equal to. So that's above the line. So the part that's shaded by both would be right in between.
Oh, 2.
And then the last two are just like the first, or the second problem on the, or the third problem. Go down. Right here, when we graph this one. Y is greater than or equal to 2, crosses the y-axis at 2. And it is a solid line because it has the equal to. Greater than is shaded above. X is less than -3, crosses the x-axis at -3. This one is dotted because it doesn't have the equal. And x is less than, so that's everything to the left. Should have made my line a little longer. So the part that is shaded by both is this part.